Ivan, great to see you. You're a partner at PAI Partners. You were talking about transparency and the changes in LP demands. What have you noticed as the big change over the last few years?
Well, I guess that's very interesting because my experience kind of mirrors the evolution of the industry, because I started in this industry 15 years ago, actually in the same firm, PAI, on the deal side, the investment side. But then I moved to the operations or investor relations side of things at a time where transparency was a dirty word, frankly. And I saw the evolution. I was part of this evolution as far as PI is concerned, and basically I've seen this progress throughout our business, not only being pushed by regulation, which is a fact of life, but much more fundamentally pushed by our investors that are, as the industry is becoming more mature, they are demanding a certain level of transparency on many, many fronts.
Well, how have the requests from LPs changed? What are they looking for? What are they searching for now?
I think it's really broad-based, and I think the crisis which took place, 2007, 2008, was a catalyst. If not, because I see transparency as being a positive trend, I would say it's almost like the crisis has been a blessing in disguise, because it forced the LPs to understand who they had given their money to, what was happening with the portfolios, was there a wall of debt, was there covenant issues, so all the financial aspects of the, I would say, the necessary transparency, but also on softer issues, which in light of the crisis became important, like the governance within the firms, the team issues, the succession planning, and all these, I would say, aspects which are critical to the private equity industry came under the spotlight at a very difficult moment for the whole financial industry, and the LPs just sort of pushed and got a little bit more power in their relationship with the GPs, and at that very time they pushed on all fronts. So if I look at, we are just now finalizing our fundraising, so we've been through this process, and I can tell you, compared to the last fundraising, which was before the crisis, it's gone really to extreme levels of transparency. In our data room, we have put levels of transparency on our portfolio investments, but also on the team economics, on the fund terms, for example, the fees and all the incentive mechanisms. That was clearly unheard of and clearly not experienced by our firm the last time around. So I think this is really an acceleration of a trend which was there. I mean, clearly the move to fair market value kind of a decade ago, etc., was the premises of this transparency trend, but I see an acceleration and the crisis having been the real catalyst.
And what flex does that put on your operations? Do you bulk up your IR team for fundraising? Do you put in place new systems to be able to respond very quickly to those LP requests?
Yeah, that's very much the case. We had prepared, and over the past few years have been ones where the firm has been strengthened on the operation side. So we have obviously a much larger IR team, very good and large finance and administration team, but also a compliance and ESG team, which is a new trend that we are basically also trying to preempt. So we have set up an infrastructure which is dedicated to our clients, because at the end of the day, we are in the service business. Our clients are very different requests and come from very different perspectives, and we have to adapt. So we have to dedicate resources to make sure we can produce reporting in time, answer their questions, and sometimes they are very granular. So this takes resources. We are lucky to have, I would say, a big enough size to be able to cope with these demands. It clearly puts a burden on smaller firms, but I think it's part of it will help also the industry evolve and become better over time.
And interestingly, that you mentioned how much LPs are really driving that change. Do you see them ahead of what the regulation is requiring?
Oh, very much so, yeah. To me, the regulation sets the floor, and it's very important. But then the real question is, what do your clients really expect from you? And it really depends. And depending on the constituents behind the LPs, the level of requirements can be very different. We just have to adapt.
Ivan, very many thanks for your time, and look forward to seeing you next year.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.